Welcome to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show, where we talk about life, we talk about liberty, and yes, we talk about the pursuit of happiness. And we showed the world and everyone else that's listening that Cajuns do have intelligence. Hope you're having a good one. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. One more day until the new podcast launch. No Longer Two. That is coming out tomorrow. It's on Spotify, Rumble, and YouTube at the moment. We are working to get it on other platforms like Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeart. We're gonna get it on those platforms. If you could be patient, if you're waiting for that podcast, but you can always go find it on YouTube and Rumble and on Spotify. We're working out all the details, but that comes out tomorrow. We're very excited. Got to listen to it a little bit for the first time. I tried to do some edits, and I was trying to work on it, and but it's coming out tomorrow. So please go ahead and check that out. This is a quick announcement, and I'm excited to be here this morning. Primary for Michigan was Tuesday night, and nothing unusual, to be honest with you. We're going to talk about both the Democratic and the Republican primary because there's two stories that are involved with that. And one is that Donald Trump, unsurprisingly again, won in a landslide. And this is, I believe, the seventh state. Some saying the fifth. I don't know if they count other ones, but I know the Epic Times said this was the seventh straight win. And but he has won. He has won Iowa. He has won New Hampshire. He has won Nevada. He has won South Carolina. Now he has won Michigan. And you know, with 94% of the votes in at the time, and I'm looking at the New York Times. Now, people might be saying, wait, Isaac, New York Times, you converted? No, I didn't convert. I just, New York Times is probably one of the best besides the AP that gets in the numbers right away. And Trump, let's just say this right now, Trump, the race was called right when the polls closed. When the polls closed, it was already 64-24, if I'm not mistaken. It was almost a 40-point margin, according to the Daily Wire. But the New York Times has Donald Trump with 94% of the vote in at 68.2% of the vote. Haley has 26.5. Run the numbers roughly. That is around a 36 to 38 point defeat for Haley. Now, she has been bragging that she's constantly getting about 40% of the vote. But this time she has fallen way under. Now, did she campaign in Michigan? Did she put a lot of money in Michigan? I'm not sure, but this is a very, very important state for just not the Republican Party, but also for the presidential race, because Michigan is one of those critical swing states. If you remember, Donald Trump won in 2016 by flipping Michigan and Pennsylvania. And is the same story as for President Joe Biden. President Joe Biden reclaimed them states in 2020, and he flipped, I think it was Nevada. It might have been Nevada, Arizona, correction. I think it was Arizona and Georgia. So, and this is what's good about the Electoral College. A lot of people might be saying, there's a lot of people out there that want to get rid of it. They want to go, oh, well, there's more red states than blue states. Let's get rid of the Electoral College. You don't want to do that. Because if that would happen and you go by popular vote, that means New York and Los Angeles and Chicago, Illinois alone could predict the next winner. And then you would have candidates that's going to these big major cities if you go by popular vote. The Electoral College plays a big role in it because it really is a fair shot. Okay? Look, Donald Trump won by the Electoral College back in 2016. Donald Trump didn't win the popular vote. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think George Bush won the popular vote. It was done by the Electoral College, and that's where each individual state plays a role in this. And Michigan is one of those states. They're one of those swing states that could go either way. And look, it makes it fair. Look, well, we don't want Joe Biden. Well, the founding fathers did it to where it could be fair. Look, you can. I think I talked about the Electoral College. I might have to bring that back up. In another episode. But Uncommitted in the Republican Party was 3 points. 33,000 people voted uncommitted. They weren't for any candidate. Now, there were some other candidates on the ballot. There was Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, Vivek, Ryan Blinken, Asa Hutchinson. Those were the candidates that were all on the ballot. And Ron DeSantis under the uncommitted was 1.2. He had 13,000 votes, which I don't understand why people are still voting for Ron DeSantis, Vivek, and all of them, but they are. They don't get no delegates. Out of the delegates for the Republican Party were 9 delegates for Trump, 2 for Nikki Haley. There were 16 delegates up for grabs. So, I don't know how they do that with the delegates, but Donald Trump, again, in sweeping fashion, beat out Nikki Haley, and with 1 week left until Super Tuesday, Nikki Haley has to be sweating, because we heard that the Koch brothers and other foundations decided to suspend their support for Nikki Haley. This is troubling for Nikki Haley, because Nikki Haley is promising to stay through as long as she can. And I've always said this: if she has the money, she can. I'm not against somebody running for president of the United States, but if you're getting beat this bad, you have to either change your strategy or you have to drop out. And Nikki Haley, look, by far, it has ran a better campaign than Ron DeSantis, has ran a better campaign than Vivek, ran a better campaign than Chris Christie. I'm not going to deny that, but I will say this: Nikki Haley is in trouble. There is no clear path for her to win. Super Tuesday, I feel, is going to be a bigger embarrassment to her than South Carolina. Now, she's going on the argument that, hey, I have 40% of the vote. That means 40% of the Republican Party do not want Donald Trump. Okay, you can have that argument. Probably 40% of people think that she's a better candidate. There's nothing wrong with that. You feel that Nikki Haley's a better candidate, but it's whoever wins these primaries. This is why we have a primary system, to narrow down the field to one candidate. When we get to the convention, at the Republican convention in wherever it's going to be, I think it's Wisconsin this year, that's who we support. And that's why we do these primaries. Our guy didn't win, but we can go ahead and vote. We can come united behind one candidate. Now, does Donald Trump have a lot of problems? Yes, he does, but it is there that he's going to be the Republican nominee. And I was a Ron DeSantis guy. See, a lot of people was, oh, you're a Trumpster. I was not always a Trumpster. Back in 2015 when he was running, I was full-blown Ted Cruz. And before Ted Cruz, I was Scott Walker, the former governor of Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't. Donald Trump was not my first choice in the 2015 election, but I backed Donald Trump in 2016, and now this time around, I was Ron DeSantis. I liked Ron DeSantis. I thought Ron DeSantis was a good candidate. Now, a lot of my friends that were Donald Trump supporters told me, "Hey, you're going to evidently vote for Donald Trump." They were right. Donald Trump is the leading candidate. My candidate dropped out because he realized, hey, I cannot win this race. So I went Donald Trump. Now, a lot of people ask me, why you didn't go for Nikki Haley if you don't like Donald Trump? Donald Trump has proven. Nikki Haley has proven as a governor. She did some great things, but there's a lot of things I disagree with her. And I don't think she's the right candidate for the right now. To be honest with you, I don't know if she would be the right candidate going forward. And that's my personal opinion. Now, will she be part of the Trump administration? She already said she don't want to be nobody's running mate. Me and a good friend was talking about this last night. That would be a perfect ticket. You think about it, as for vote-wise, that Donald Trump and Nikki Haley together, and they get all them votes that people are fighting about. And would that be a good idea? I don't know. But I know one thing: Donald Trump's going to need a vice president that has his back. And look, Mike Pence did his job. And the only thing that you can argue is that Mike Pence didn't follow through with January 6th. That would be, all you Trumpers out there would say, well, no, he's a bad vice. No, Mike Pence was a good VP. Mike Pence did his job. Now, you can disagree with January 6th or whatever, but hey, Mike Pence was a good vice president, but at the end, Donald Trump felt that he betrayed him. Now, will Nikki Haley do that? Well, Nikki Haley was part of his administration. He knows Nikki Haley. So we would have to see what happens with that. But Nikki Haley has 1 week to cover. I think 20 some states. I think it's 21 states that's going to happen on Super Tuesday. This is a bulk election right here. This is where most of the primaries are going to happen. And Super Tuesday is going to be the deciding factor, because that's another argument she's having. We only have had 5 states that have decided, and we have to give everybody their voice. Well, come Super Tuesday, is going to be 20-something states that have voiced their opinion. And that is majority, that's half of the nation. Do you still go with the argument, well, we only had 25 states, now we got another 25 states to go? And look, we vote, I think it's sometime in March for the presidential primary. And I'm a Republican. I'm going to go vote for Donald Trump in the primary. But probably by the time when Louisiana comes on vote, it really isn't going to matter. Now, Louisiana is bright red now, so it really don't matter. But Donald Trump is going to be the nominee. There's no ifs and buts about it. And I think this was a worse loss for her than Iowa. I would have to go look at the numbers. Iowa might have been worse because, remember, Ron DeSantis came in third. She has not finished second. See, that's one thing Nikki Haley has been saying, too. It's been a 2-person race. Not in Iowa. Iowa, you came out in third. And I think the wind stopped blowing for her sails in South Carolina. South Carolina was a devastating defeat for her because that was her home state, and she only pulled in 40% of the vote. And there's people that are wondering, did Democrats change? The Democrats change their registration, which they can. A lot of people say, well, this is a true Republican primary. Not if the Democrats change their votes. And there had to be a deadline. Every state is different. But Nikki Haley, again, lost badly. And we can continue talking about this. And this is just something that I really think Donald Trump's going to be is the nominee. There's no ifs and buts about it. Okay, moving on, because this episode is talking about also the Democratic primary, and it is an interesting story. It's not surprising who won this race. It's what happened during this race. So President Joe Biden in the Democratic primary won the primary with 81% of the votes. I think there was 116 delegates up for grab with this one, and I don't know why the Democrats have way bigger numbers in the delegates. I know super delegates and regular delegates, but Joe Biden got 81% of the vote. Now, we have Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips. They only pulled both together about 5% of the vote. Now, you might be asking, Isaac, where did the other 13% or so votes went to? Well, it went to a section where they have in Michigan called uncommitted. This is the same as in Nevada when they did their primary and they had none of above candidates. Or none of these candidates, and Nikki Haley got blown out. It's an option on there to say, look, I don't like none of these candidates. And now I quoted the uncommitted in the Republican primary because it was for a reason. I think it was like 3% of the vote. 3% of people in Michigan said, look, we don't like none of the candidates, and we're going to be uncommitted. Well, the reason there's 13% going to uncommitted was because a small group of Arab Democrats wanted to protest Joe Biden's stance on the war in Israel and Gaza. As you know, and I think it was October 7th of last year, Hamas ambushed the Jewish people in Gaza. They came out of Gaza, they went to Israel, and they a massacre and took hundreds of hostages, where we still have some of the hostages still missing. And right now, as we talk, Israel is advancing in the last stage of Gaza. They're saying, look, we're going after the leadership. They're telling people to leave, which a lot of people don't understand. War, you usually don't tell your opponent or the civilians to leave, but they're warning them, look, we're coming. We're not telling you when we're coming, but we're coming. You need to get out. Israel has done that. And all the nations have been saying, well, Israel is not worrying about the civilians. They're telling people to get out. They're telling them, hey, leave. A war is coming. You need to go. But some of the Arab Democrats in Michigan felt that Joe Biden has not been doing a good job And they said it would have been successful if they got 10% of the vote, which they were successful in that endeavor because they got over 13% and 13.3. Now, this is an issue according to the media because Joe Biden needs Michigan. He needs every single vote. If you looked at almost every primary that has happened with the Democratic Party, it has been Joe Biden average 95 to 97% votes. And Dean Phillips and Maureen Williams, they've been polling some votes, but it's not enough to affect the Joe Biden campaign to say, hey, we need to focus on these other Democrats and get them out the way. Joe Biden is solely focused on Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is solely focused on Joe Biden now. If you listen to his recent speech that he gave in South Carolina, he did not mention Nikki Haley. He thinks Nikki Haley is done. And Joe Biden in this primary had 81% of the vote. Why? Because these Arab Democrats are protesting him and said, look, let's go uncommitted to show him our disapproval. Now, is 13% enough to show his disapproval? No. No, Joe Biden probably heard about it. And there was one article, I think by Breitbart, saying that this protest took the wins out of Joe Biden's victory. Well, there wasn't really no win to begin with. We already knew Joe Biden was going to win this primary because the Democrat Party is pushing Joe Biden. They're not pushing nobody else. That's why Robert Kennedy didn't run as a Democrat. Because if he would have ran as a Democrat, he couldn't run as an independent later on because he was already on a primary ballot. So instead of running as a Democrat, he switched to independent and running as an independent now. But Joe Biden, the Democrat Party wants Joe Biden. So we knew he was going to win. They were going to get it to where Joe Biden is the candidate. There's no issue with that. The story here is this uncommitted vote. Will those people stay home? Or will those people vote for Joe Biden? Evidently. And I'm taking a different approach than most media platforms. Because some of them are like, well, they might stay home. They're going to vote for Joe Biden. They did this because it was a no loss situation for them. What do I mean by that? Well, they showed Joe Biden there uncommitted, but Joe Biden wasn't going to lose this primary. Dean Phillips and Maureen Williams, who have run, Maureen Williams, I think this is her second time running as a Democrat, has no shot to win. They never had a shot to win. And this uncommitted vote, this was a safe bit. This was a safe bit to go ahead and say, listen, we want to show our disapproval of how he's handling Gaza. So that's the story. That covered his win, this uncommitted vote. Because look, I was watching, there's something on Tubi called Fox News Live where they show live events. There was an event in Michigan where these people were holding speeches and saying that they needed held Joe Biden accountable and that he needs to do something with the Gaza Strip. He needs to ask for a ceasefire, which all of a sudden now he's talking about a ceasefire. It's funny how Joe Biden is worried about the Middle East now. He's worried about the border. He's worried about inflation. He's worried all about this stuff now because it's an election year. So now he's trying to push a ceasefire, which Benjamin Netanyahu has said, look, there's not going to be no other ceasefire. But according to Joe Biden, hey, it's close. It's close, guys. A ceasefire's coming. It's close. And he's trying to win those votes. Now, the argument is, what if these people do stay home? Well, that's a 10%. Might not seem a lot, but it is a lot. Because Joe Biden, I feel, needs every vote that he can muster up right now. Because I feel he has no shot to win in 2024. We would have to see when the polls come out. We would have to see when Election Day, which we're probably going to have a live event that weekend, that day. I don't know how long we're going to be on the air, but we'll be doing live election coverage. And it's just you have to take into account what if that 13% don't show up. Which I feel they will, but let's just assume they don't show up. And then you got to ask the same question on the other side, too. What if the 40% of Republicans that Nikki Haley's talking about decide to stay home? Or go third party? That's another thing. Will these 13% go third party? Will they go for Robert Kennedy, who's really the only third candidate out there right now. Will they go to him? We just don't know, but we would have to see. Like I said, Michigan was very interesting last night. I wasn't even planning on going this deep into that, but when I started hearing this uncommitted vote and these Arab Democrats standing up and protesting Biden, there was a lot to uncover with this. So I hope you enjoyed that. But Michigan, it said a lot last night. The Michigan primary said a lot. It reaffirmed Donald Trump's position as the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party. Yes, it also did the same. The Democrat Party primary did the same thing for Joe Biden, but this uncommitted vote of do Arab Democrats support Joe Biden? And that's something Joe Biden has to ask. Joe Biden has to ask this question: Does the Arab nations or the Arab community support me? Because if they don't, it's gonna be a problem in November. But I feel a lot of people are not voting with policy right now. They're voting with their wallet. They see things going up, and like I said, they know Joe Biden needs every vote. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But Super Tuesday is 6 days away. We're gonna have to see what happens on Super Tuesday, and there is Democrat primaries, which Biden's probably going to win all of them. And 9 out of 10, Donald Trump's going to win all of them. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But with that being said, that will end this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show. I want to thank you, as always, for listening to the show. Please remember our affiliate marketers, Give-A-Derm and HairClub. You know, HairClub is a hair loss prevention company. They do great jobs. I have friends that work there, and they got me involved with their partnership program. You can hit the link if you have hair loss issue, male or female, because it is a big problem in America, hair loss. You get with one of their consultants and they can help you out. Use the promo code when you set up the meeting, BGS Media 10, and you get some discounts. Also, our good friends at Give-A-Derm. They're a great dermatology company. A lot of skincare products have toxins and chemicals in it in their product, but Give-A-Derm doesn't. Give-A-Derm is worried about your health. They're worried about your skin, and they want you to be healthy. So they use all natural products in their hand lotions and their dermatology products. And Give-A-Derm is a great American company owned by 2 conservative women. So go ahead and check them out. The link is in the bio. You can use the promo code BGSmedia10. You get a discount on your products. Great product. We use it, and it works. It works. I love their soap. Their soap is a great tool, and it makes your skin soft. I promise you. All right, with that being said, you have a good one. Be blessed, be encouraged. Remember, Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back, and he's coming back soon. Don't be faint of heart. Jesus has overcome the world. If you want to know Jesus, your Lord and Savior, you can always reach out to me, and I will tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. Until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one.